milí naši priaznici týždňa, pozdravujem vás znovu z nášho štúdia na GLOBSECu v Prahe. A mám tu veľmi špeciálneho hostia, je ním Alhassan Bala, je z Nigérie, priletel takú dlhú cestu až sem do Prahy a jeho povolaním je fact-checking, čo je veľmi dôležitá vec v čase hybridných operácií a budeme sa baviť o tom, ako sa konkrétne v Nigérii a aj na africkom kontinente prejavuje ruská propaganda, čínska propaganda, iránska propaganda, v čom spočíva Alhassanovo povolanie, čo to znamená a aké sú výzvy pred jeho krajinou. Hi, Alhassan. Thank you so much for finding the time and coming to talk to us. We really value that you came to tell our viewers about your mission, because being a fact checker, I think, is a mission.
Sure.
It's more than just a work, more than just business. It's a mission, a vocation. So please, would you tell us more about that?
Okay, basically, thank you very much for inviting me.
It's a pleasure.
To share this idea, this work we do of combating disinformation, combating misinformation, and FIMI, that is foreign information manipulation and interference, which is it's a global thing.
Yeah.
So for us, we are doing it particularly in part of Africa. As you said, I'm from Nigeria.
Yeah.
And we are focusing in the Sahel and West Africa because we are looking at local languages. So we chose a local language called Hausa, which is spoken in majority or most of Sahel countries and West Africa.
Not only in Nigeria, but in other Sahel countries
yes,
too.
include Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, Chad, Burkina Faso, Mali, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Senegal. And there are a significant number of more than 1 million Hausa speakers each in Sudan and Eritrea. So it is kind of very huge. There is population of these speakers statistically more than 100 million speakers of Hausa language across this.
You have a great reach. And
the youth that are speaking this language using social media.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and recently infiltration of FIMI, which is coming from some countries.
Yeah.
And I can say that based on what happened last year in Nigeria during a protest, which a Russian flag was raised by some young people in Kano State.
The flag of Russian Federation was raised in a street protest in Nigeria.
Yes, in Nigeria.
In the capital?
In the northern Nigerian cities of Kano and Kaduna State and a few other states. So
what do those young people think, you know, raising a Russian flag? What does it mean for them mentally, emotionally? What is it?
It's like it is coordinated campaign to actually instigate the youth to be pro-military, because after raising the flags, they are just like what happened in Niger Republic, Mali and Burkina Faso, where there was coup and military coup d'etat. There is currently military leadership. So this is something they are calling in Nigeria. So that reason of Russian flag is like calling for dictatorship, I can say, or trying to be pro-military, because definitely if there is going to be a military rule in Nigeria, they are going to align with Russia, just the same like what is happening in Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali. So those are the issues. And aside that, Nigerians youth are battling, so many are believing some narratives or some stories coming in showing that the military leadership in Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali are doing well. They are making their country people enjoying and
efficient, solving problems.
Exactly, which is far from the reality on ground. And this means that there is an actor who is sponsoring that.
Yeah. And that is, I think it's in Kremlin, right? The sponsor is in Kremlin.
Well, we all know that the relationship between this country and Russia is close, most especially Burkina Faso, which is the one they are portraying like a revolutionist in Africa. He's doing well, he's doing that, which as fact checkers, we have fact checked several stories about him that are fake, that are coming from that. And I believe, and we believe as an organization, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali doesn't have the capacity to do that coordinated disinformation.
Of course.
They don't have that capacity. Most especially to Nigeria, to now Ghana, Burkina Faso, and also for Niger, unfortunately, because over 90% of Niger Republic citizens speaks Hausa language, understand Hausa language, and over also about 90% of people in northern Nigeria, they speak Hausa language, they understand Hausa language, and there are a significant number of speakers in Benin Republic, Mali, and Burkina Faso of Hausa. So he always wants to broadcast in Hausa language, trying to make Nigeria, France, Benin Republic, and Ivory Coast indefensive, with a lot of allegations without any proof, without any evidence, without anything. So we have been doing a lot in terms of combating that from external.
How do you do that? You know, you find the narrative, you fact check it, and then you publish the whole process of fact checking with the results? Yes,
we will publish the text, and also for some issues we do video explainers, because young people like to watch video now. So we do video explainers and explain the thing, the fact check, how the reason why the statement or the claim or the video or the picture is not true, is false, this and that. So we follow the process of fact checking. But in a situation whereby, because those that are doing this filming and disinformation are very intelligent, they are sophisticated, they didn't know that we cannot directly fact check, we tend to do what we call the explainers. We will now explain to people, this is the reality, this is the history, this is it's just for the people now to conclude on their own.
Yes, this is something we talked about before, and I find it very interesting. You don't tell people, well, this is false, don't believe that. You explain to them that you are intelligent, so you should arrive at your own conclusion. Is it successful?
Yeah, of course. A lot of people will tend to now have to go back. In the comments, we have seen a lot of people realizing that, and some people reaching out to us through our WhatsApp or Facebook pages, and even TikTok and Instagram. They DM us, so we are seeing the progress of people actually realizing.
They write messages and tell you, oh, thank you, now I see what's real and what not, or something like that.
Exactly.
This is great.
Exactly.
This is great.
So people are really appreciating that, including those in government, Nigerian government.
Oh, really?
Because we have done a lot concerning the FIMI, which I was sent a message, the Foreign Affairs Minister of Nigeria sent me a message of appreciation that the fact check or the explainer we did actually draw their attention to something they didn't see.
Oh.
So that is the impact.
So does the government kind of support your work, or is it?
No. For now, we don't have any funding. Like I told you, I freelance with VOA, although we are now resting, and let me put it that way. I also do one or two things to actually earn, then I support the interns. I don't have full staff, full-time staff.
Okay.
I only have interns that I give stipend every month. We do the work. We work. Pending when we get a partnership or grant or funding, then we will fully have to engage a lot of
so the government doesn't fund you at all?
Not at all.
And does it, support you mentally, and or does it criticize you? Does it, because does the government see you as a friend or as an enemy?
Well, for me right now, I can say they see me, or they see the organization as a friend for now. Despite the fact that we have done something, we fact check them as well, but because they saw the bigger picture of the fact that the threat for the FIMI, the instigation of Nigerian youth, the attempted instigation of Nigerian youth against the democratically elected government, which trying to protect democracy, so we are doing that. So even if they made false claims and we fact-check them, they don't feel bad because they know we are doing our job.
Okay.
They understand actually, and I can say I'm getting this mental support you talk about mostly from the foreign ministry. They are really like, thank you very much for the work. We really have, and they are following.
This is much better than in Slovakia, actually. The Slovak government sees fact-checking and journalists who are true journalists as enemies. So this is, I envy you that your government is still on the side of facts.
Yeah, I think for our organization, maybe the reason why they may be is because they saw the sincerity. They saw that we are not focusing like mainly only them.
Yeah.
We are doing other things that is even for their own good.
Yeah.
So they believe that, well, he is doing his job.
Yeah.
They are doing their job because the external factors are more dangerous than the internal one. We have done a lot of internal fact-checking whereby some people want to, I told you we have more than 500 languages or tribes in Nigeria. So there is going to be a lot of division, a lot of tribal sentiment and religious sentiment. So some people want to use that, and we have been fact-checking a lot of that to actually bring unity to the country, to debunk anything that will cause violence.
That's admirable, you know. And we've also been talking about the sources of foreign propaganda coming to Africa and to Nigeria. Like the foreign propaganda comes from Russia, from Iran, and from China. Is it right?
Basically, when you look at when we look at the what I call in the office, what I call the triangle.
Yeah.
I told my colleague I put the triangle.
Oh.
When I look at the triangle of the actors, when it has to do with the FIMI, the one coming into Nigeria, like that, it's like you have Russia here, you have Iran, and you have China.
Yeah.
I mean, not them. I'm referring to their supporters back home in Nigeria.
But the sources are in Russia, China, and Iran?
Like what happened during the protests, investigation shows that it has to do with Russia, because the coordination was done basically through Telegram and also TikTok.
The Russian troll farms?
Not really directly, you know. They can't. There is not going to be direct. It's not going to be direct. Yeah. You can't direct, but you can connect the dot.
Okay.
You can connect the dot of what is happening actually.
What is Russia trying to achieve in Nigeria?
Well, that one, I think I may not have direct answer to it because only them knows. But I believe that just a normal influence issue in Africa, where the global powers always want to have influence, like the China want to have influence in Africa, Russia want to have influence in Africa, the America want to have influence in Africa, the Europe also, which is now actually making a lot of interest by all these people towards the African continent, which is maybe the reason why Russia is always having like now understanding or collaborating with the Sahel countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, and coming towards Nigeria and Ghana and Ivory Coast and other countries, I believe. But by the way, these propagandas are not mostly directly, but it just linked to. It just linked. When you link the thing, you can say, yeah, this is it. But apart from the linking, you cannot just specifically this person is from maybe a person from Russia is doing that. No, it is when a pro-Russian keep doing something, definitely, you know, something is off.
Of course.
So this is what we use to say, this is when pro-China do something, which right now our observation believes that all the China and pro-Iran are also pro-Russia. So they are interchanging. They are like kind of...
Russia and China and Iran are not always friends, but it looks like they act together in Nigeria, for example, and maybe in Sahel.
Basically, maybe, but for Nigeria, all I understand, and the fact check we have done so far, and we have seen a lot of claims regarding maybe even internal issues from their pro or supporters. Mostly, they actually support each other.
Yeah. Does China buy influence in Nigeria through investment as well?
Sure, I have done a report on that. For Voice of America.
Oh, great.
For Voice of America.
For Voice of America. How much is China investing in Nigeria?
It's huge, and they are increasing because they are the ones building most of the train in Nigeria, and a lot of governments are giving them contracts.
Yeah.
And then the loan issue, which is worrisome for
it's
us.
A loan trap.
For us, for me personally, it's one way, but I believe they are using that as well. So there is the investment on their own part, there is the loan issue, and also the governments do give them contract, which one of the report I did for Voice of America, I think it was last year, early last year, was the fact that the Nigerian local contractors are actually raising concern that Chinese companies are taking over work construction meant for them.
Okay.
The big contracts is no longer given to the local companies. So the local companies are going down.
Of course, bankrupt. Actually. Yeah. How much is the investment in terms of percentage? You know, if you compare it to the investment of Nigerian companies, is there more that China is bringing or and taking away the contract? So is it pushing the Nigerian companies out of market? Sure.
That was the report I did actually, and they complained, and it's unfortunate that there are a lot of reasons they give for that, because Chinese companies are coming with equipment, massive equipment. They are already coming with the capital. With the money, since the government or one of the banks can give them that fund. So that is the reason the Nigerian local contractors are getting out of...
How about the government of Nigeria? Is it welcoming the Chinese investments?
Of course,
yes.
They are. Nigeria is actually welcoming every investment. For example, right now Nigeria is having a good relationship with France. For example, because of the president. I believe what I say, every president has his own country that he has maybe a relationship with before he become president. So after he become the president, the relationship continues and even strengthen the personal relationship. So I believe that is what is happening. Since President Macron was once in Nigeria, he lived in Nigeria. Maybe
he has a personal relationship to Nigeria.
Yes.
And the Russian investment, is there a Russian investment actually in the economy? Because Russia doesn't have that much money, but...
I only know that massive embassy.
Oh, we have a massive embassy in Slovakia too. I think we should kick out half of the
I don't know.
there, but okay.
Massive embassy.
Massive embassy,
yeah,
okay.
But just like American embassy, which is massive, they have massive embassy.
Okay.
That's...
And they are not investing in the Nigerian economy.
No. I don't know. I don't know much about their investment. But basically, based on my understanding, Russia doesn't do that globally.
So it's just the disinformation.
The major problem is that disinformation issue. That is FIMI. I call it FIMI, foreign information manipulation and interference. So I believe that's the major issue, but there have been like calls to give the Russian one particular project that they did far back that is steel company. It's owned by Nigeria Ajakuta. But I don't think up to now is still going to be. I don't know why, but only the government will know the reasons. And I believe they don't really invest in Nigeria. But they're just increasingly trying to their own ways to manipulate the information space.
Of course. And Russia has been trying to get the support of various African countries in its war against Ukraine. And to some extent, you know, it's successful. I personally see many supposedly African accounts on Facebook. I don't know if it's real people from Africa. It might be just Russian trolls who, you know, write things like, oh, Putin is great. Putin is doing the right thing. So, what's the real situation? What do people think? If they at all think about the war in Ukraine, it's far away. So it's understandable if they don't think about it much. But if they think about it, what do they think?
I think basically I could say it's 50-50 because there is so many factors. Number one, there are people that believe since Europe has not been saying anything regarding the Gaza crisis, that is
that's closer
Israel and Palestine. So why should they bother about Ukraine as well?
So that's what Russia says also,
that opinion. So many people in Africa hold that opinion. While so many people also see the implication of the Russian invasion on Ukraine because it affects food security and fertilizer.
Ukrainian wheat.
Yeah, thank you. That's food security generally to African countries. For example, my country, Nigeria, I did a report on that for Voice of America. So I know it affected actually Nigerians' food security, the war, and it's having impact on the issue of fertilizer in Nigeria. Although we have
Ukraine produces fertilizers too.
Exactly. So although we have Dangote fertilizer company right now, so there is not much that issue. But and also there are a number of Nigerians that studied in Ukraine. Number of Nigerians that during when the war started, there were many. They were I think they are second or third in Africa that have the largest number of students from Africa.
So they study in Ukraine?
Yes.
Are they still there?
Medicine, no, they are back. I know so many of them because I did report about it. So I have made calls.
And Russia has tended to, you know, use some mercenaries or to get soldiers from African countries to come to fight against Ukraine. There were some individual cases. I don't know, were some of them from Nigeria? I don't remember actually.
Basically, we saw that report, and I was asked by VOA then to ask the foreign ministry, although they refused to comment.
Of course.
They refused to say anything regarding that. Up to today, they just decline any comment on that. But I have seen a number of reports, even yesterday or day before yesterday. I think I was sent something related to the recruitment by Russia of African youth to fight in Ukraine, and they are mostly from Senegal. And also for a prison, like hidden prison, they operate where they torture Africans in Mali as well. The Wagner group, and so many other things like that. It's quite unfortunate. And,
it's tragic.
But I believe, based on the stories, based on the news we got, is that there are some number of African youth that are fighting in Ukraine.
What are they, you know, lured with? Money?
It's all about money. It's all about money.
Yeah.
You know the problem. For example, back in Nigeria, a lot of younger people don't have job due to the economic challenges, which is not peculiar to Nigeria. Every country has its own problems, but this is the reason why even our fact-checking, media literacy, we do fact-check migration disinformation.
Okay.
because we realize that one is important. Migration disinformation, and also do media literacy about migration. So that angle too is part of the thing we do. So we realized while doing the fact checking about migration disinformation is there are a lot about money. The grass is green out of Nigeria, in Europe, in everywhere. Just like there's no problem. The pay is good.
So the land of opportunities is presented to them.
Exactly, that is what is.
Oh, and then they end up fighting in the battlefield. Some of them battlefield fighting.
Some of them are even ready to go. If you offer them that, even if it is they will just say they are joining, for example, the Russian army or this army or the U.S. army. They are happy to do that.
So it's a better perspective for them
how they see
than remaining at home, maybe.
That is what they say.
Okay. Oh, that's and we didn't talk about Iran. So what's the interest of Iran in Nigeria?
Basically, Iran is because of Shia Muslims. In Nigeria, they are little bit have a significant number of population in Nigeria. So basically, their members are mostly not like in support of the government most times. There are a number of issues between the Shia.
And you have Boko Haram as well.
Yeah, insecurity. We have insecurity in Nigeria. The Boko Haram issue, the banditry issue. So you know, it is in particular part of the country, not all the country.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So basically, just like many other countries, they have challenge of insecurity. Nigeria also do have its own. There are so many factors, internal factors, external factors, which personally I can say, but more of internal issues, you know, political interest internally. This politician don't want this one to succeed, so let him fuel the crisis so that people will vote for him the next. So those are the issues.
You know, same in Europe. The issues may be different, but the same principle. Yeah,
that is.
Fragment the society, polarize the society, divide and rule.
Divide and rule. That is what is happening even
so
in
Iran, where does Iran come into this?
They are always supporting their members. The Shia in Nigeria, and since the Shia are always not in good terms with the government, so there must be that interest to protect their members. That is where they come in. They are not really looking at any investment much, but to protect their members.
So it's a tribal and religious thing.
It's a more of a religious thing. Let's protect our own. In terms of Iran, but Iranian, the Shia Muslim, most of them actually is pro either Russia or China. They're just supporting that. Anything that has to do with they have little soft landing for Europe, but America now go.
No, America is the great Satan. You know, I will ask you about this, and everybody's talking about the global South, and it's a very, very wide term. So, is there some kind of feeling in Nigeria that the West should do more for those countries of global South, that the West has forgotten to ask about their opinions and to discuss things with the global South? Because, you know, the West is not talking many times even among itself properly. Is it forgetting about the global South countries? Maybe about Nigeria too?
Basically, I can say before now, the West or the Europe and even America, their own interest is not much in Africa or Nigeria in particular. But with the recent Chinese or Russia interest in Sahel and West Africa and Africa entirely, the Europe and America are showing great interest on Africa. Although currently with the new president in US, it's a little bit different.
He's not interested in anything
much about
himself.
Africa. But by the way, Europe is actually showing a lot of interest. I'm not because I'm in Europe, but I believe before now or recently, the partnership or the relationship between Africa, after the colonialism and the recent just like 5 to 10 years, it is win-win partnership. Unlike before, when there is what I can perceive like just to have your resources.
So is it more equal and more normal?
For now, is growing and it's becoming more equal in terms of the partnership of win-win. For example, France and its colonies, it has been win-win for quite a number of years before this thing happened. For example, the chasing the French troops and so on, it's win-win. I just hope that this is what they are calling Russia. It will not be 0 or 100-0, 100-0 instead of 50-50. So basically, Europe is or the West is trying now to amend the mistakes they made in the past. That how I see it personally. How I see it. So that will be good. But for now, the Africans see that the Europeans or the West is just trying to come to their country, just took their resources or caused problems so that they can be able to take their resources. They can give you example of Libya, they can give you example of even far away Iraq, because listening of radio is a culture in Africa up to today. And also with social media now, the world is just in your hand. You just
That's kind of horrible, you know.
Can see everything.
Yeah, the social media is a huge problem here as well.
Yeah, it is a huge problem because it's causing a lot of, although it has its own advantage, impacts, but there are a lot of negative impact about it, most especially regards to the disinformation, which is causing a lot of disunity, which is causing a lot of violence in many African countries. A lot of crises happening in African countries, including my country, Nigeria. Actually, disinformation is fueling. It's fueling that crisis. So, recently, former Nigerian President Olusegun mentioned that even the civil war was actually triggered by disinformation. So, I mean, this is way back, years back in Nigeria, and it's actually that's the reason why we are doing the work, so that people will get to realize the media literacy will get to realize that this is how to censor let me not use the word censor, to verify information, to make yourself know which story or which information to believe in, and which one is automatically, as you say it, is false. But the threat is AI. AI videos and pictures are becoming sophisticated that you may not really accept if you are an expert. I really thank God that I've gotten many trainings on AI. So from looking, I can spot I can spot so many red flags that some people may
I think common viewers and social media consumers can't see that. See the red flags.
A lot of people cannot see the red flag. A lot of people look back home because they believe on something. You just look at it, that is AI or something. People are believing it, comment like, you start saying, oh my God.
Okay, thank you, Alhassan. I'm so happy that you found the time, and this has been hugely interesting. And I suggest we stay in contact. I will write to you, and you might become our, one of the sources of information, because we don't know anybody in Nigeria. So this is great.
It's fine because I can mention to you that before I become fact checker, when I was working with local media, I covered politics, both the electoral umpire. I covered Nigeria's 2015 election from the Coalition Center, where they announced the presidential result. In 2019 again. In 2023, the same thing. So, and I've covered a lot of off-season elections in Nigeria. So basically, Nigerian politics, I know a little. I can say a little. I don't want to say everything.
But you have a good outlook.
Then I covered the foreign ministry for quite a number of years. So I know a lot of information. So the culture, and diversity of Nigeria. And
Great.
So on.
Great. Okay, thank you so much, and well, let's hope you will have a good GLOBSEC. And
Thank
you
you very
will
much.
find many useful contacts here.
Thank you very much.
Okay.